Father Thomas Reese is a senior analyst for the National Catholic Reporter. He joins us now from Washington for more on the Pope's visit. So, Father, let's first talk about the Pope's statement on Sunday to the victims of sexual abuse by clergy. Now, earlier this week, the National Catholic Reporter had urged Pope Francis to simply use the words clergy sexual abuse of minors. Now, his comments on Sunday seem to live up to that, go beyond that. Were you surprised by this? And why do you think he made those comments now?
Well, he made the comments, of course, because he met with victims of abuse. And this is extremely important. It's so important for the Pope, for priests, for bishops to sit down with these people, these survivors, and hear their stories, hear the tragedy that impacted their lives, and to listen to them in a way that they understand we believe them, what they're saying, and we want to help them, and that we are terribly, terribly sorry for what happened. And that's what people wanted to hear from the Pope, and that's what he said. He said how sorry he was that it happened, how sorry he was that they weren't believed when they first came forward, and how sorry he was that the bishops didn't do what they were supposed to do and to protect minors.
But Father, this then gets to, I guess, the question of PR here. Victims of sexual abuse by the clergy, they're dismissive in many ways of what the Pope said. They do say that no child is now safer today than they were yesterday. There needs to be this independent investigation. The Church needs to remove abusers immediately and actually needs to do something rather than just make these kind of statements.
Well, the rule in the Church today is zero tolerance for any abuse. That means any priest who's involved in abuse is out. He can never wear clerics. He can never act as a priest again, period. Now, we got to make sure that rule is implemented, and that is extremely important. And we have to make sure that every bishop follows the rules and implements it, and make sure that these priests never are allowed to act as a priest again. So in a sense, I agree with the survivors groups that, we can't just pretend this is over. We have to keep an eye on it, make sure that everything all the rules are followed, make sure that proper training is done and proper background checks are done. And we have to make sure that this is done not just in the United States, but all over the world.
In many ways, this trip by the Pope, I mean, he's not your father's Pope. He weighed in on issues like climate change. He even made this plea for Republicans and Democrats to come together, to actually try and work together, end the divisions. Do you think that those words will last longer than the contrails of his jet as he flies home to Rome?
Well, certainly those words were very popular with the American people who are sick of this polarization. They, like the Pope, would like to see the politicians sit down, work together to solve the problems of our country and the world. And I think that's what he's asking them to do. And there's so many problems. I mean, the environmental crisis, the poor, the homeless. The Pope went from Congress to a homeless shelter in Washington, D.C. There should not be homeless people in the United States. And so he was there to speak for the homeless, for the immigrants, for the refugees, and for Mother Earth. And we need our politicians to get to work to deal with these problems.
Final question here. Do you think the Pope is a bit like Steve Jobs in a way? He's using his personality and his charisma to reinvent an organization, but at the end of the day, it's still basically selling the same product?
Well, I think, as you noted, people in the United States love this Pope, and lots of people who used to be Catholics like this Pope also, and they're thinking about, maybe I should give the Church a second chance. Maybe I should go back. Well, the problem is that the Pope is important in the Catholic Church, but he's not the whole story. Catholics live their faith in the local parish. And if these people return, they're going to look for somebody like Francis. They're going to want a priest who's like Francis. So we clergy have to adopt his style. We have to adopt his way of being welcoming and compassionate, non-judgmental. Otherwise, people are going to turn around and walk right out the door again.
That is a very good point to finish this on. Father Thomas Reese, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you.